Hi there, so this is Ronnie and he posted something on the indoor rowing community on Facebook asking for some feedback on his technique, which I gave, wrote a big long message, and then we got in touch with each other and kind of figured that maybe this would be a good one for the Form Check Fridays, where I take a look at him, I'll draw my little notes on it, and then I'll explain exactly what I see as things that he can improve, and it's basically the stuff that will help in a video form better than it did in that little message that I replied to him. So, let's get on with looking at Ronnie and his Form Check Friday, even though it's a Saturday. Okay then, so I'm gonna hit play, and really usefully what Ronnie does is he sits there and he does like a no handle warm up, or whatever this is, just kind of working on his technique, and instantly you can see where the problem's gonna occur here. And it's what I wrote and lots of other people wrote in their feedback to him, and that's that he's very robotic, okay? He's doing this as like a drive, swing, pull, push, So if I hit play again, you'll see that that's what's happening, is that he's kind of driving out and then he pulls in and then he pushes out his arms and he goes forwards. And that's really, when we look at his main rowing, that's what kind of the problem, if you want to call it that, well it is a problem, is that there's no flow, there's no kind of like gliding from the leg drive, then into the swing, then into the arm pull, and then the arms come away, which triggers the forwards tilt and then comes forwards again. So let's take a look at him in full motion. Now that kind of little stutter start thing, please stop doing that, okay? Especially the way you just did it just then, Ronnie, that's not going to help anything. You really want to make sure, if you're going to do that, that you're kind of going quarter length, half length, full length, okay? So 3 short jabby ones, it's not going to help you start faster. My advice for most people is just to start with one big, long, huge stroke. I know lots of people do get results from that quick start, but yeah. Anyway, so looking at him rowing, you can see exactly what he was practicing in this little warm-up. This is exactly what's now happening with Ronnie's stroke, is that he's kind of coming through, everything's kind of okay, but it's very robotic. You can see just how stiff his arms are on the return. So he kind of comes in, and then really throws out arms, really stiff as he comes forwards. You can see, in fact, if you take a kind of a look here, you can see that his triceps have popped because he's so stiff as he's coming forwards again. And then into the front. And then what happens really as you kind of go through watching his stroke is it's almost like he's overthinking things from time to time. And then when his brain disengages from this overthinking, it gets a little bit more fluid. Like that stroke just then is a little bit more fluid because he's no longer thinking about kind of throwing the handle away. But the truth is, he's still kind of missing that flow from phase to phase. It's almost like he's trying to grunt in a really strong pull. In fact, that's a good one to kind of look there. He's kind of comes in and he's really kind of grunting in a strong pull to the finish. And really what's happening is that he's missing the leg drive at the front. And kind of he's not getting the power in from the front of the stroke, and he's trying to kind of over egg the pudding at the back of the stroke with that kind of big pull and then that kind of robotic front. So the two things that I want to talk about here are how to improve the that kind of flow through the stroke, but I also do want to take a better look at him missing the that power, the connection between the feet and the hands at the front, because this is the two things that I find I'm telling lots of people about when it comes to doing my online reviews, when I'm doing like web chats with people, when people send me videos like this. So I can do this kind of a review absolutely for free, but you can also do like a web chat with me where I'll kind of stand and I'll watch you row and I'll give you real-time feedback. All stuff's on my website, RowAlong.com, don't worry. But yeah, so this connection at the front, so if I go, let's take this stroke here, okay? So he's just coming into the front, and then let's see if we can get the point. This is the point in the stroke that you can see his arms connect, okay? So he's come that far back, which this, as a sidebar, is why people will say don't let your heels come off the foot plates. There's nothing inherently wrong with your heels coming off the foot plate, okay? They can come up. As long as what's happening is your shins aren't going past vertical, and that's why your heels are coming up. Like if you're going to vertical again, your heels are down, that's kind of the problem. So it's the forward heels, the forward shins is what causes the heels to come up. That's by the by. The problem with heels coming up off the foot plate is that what's happening, especially here with Ronnie, is that the distance it's taken for his heels to connect there on the foot plate, that's how much of his kind of seat slide he's missing before he connects his feet to his hands. And by the time he has moved that far back on the rowing machine, what it does is it completely disengages the feet to the hands up through the back, like the posterior chain thing. And so what you don't get, so when people talk about how they find it hard to, when you say you hang off the machine through the leg drive, 9 times out of 10, this is why, okay, is that they're missing that connection between the feet planting into the foot plates and the hands connecting the handle to the machine. What I mean is that point where you feel it biting. That's the connection. So you want to push your feet into the foot plates at the same time that the handle connects to the machine. If you start your backside moving down the slide, like what's happening here with Ronnie, let's go, so slide, 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 connect. That movement here of his backside, that's where he's completely losing the connection to then not be able to accelerate that power through, okay? So he's doing a good job of holding the forwards lean as he misses the connection. But the problem is it's not until here that he actually does the connection, and so he's so far back that he's not able to send that power up through his posterior chain and into the machine. So the heels up thing here is the problem. His shins are at vertical, okay? So if you look at this, his shins are, yeah, in fact, I've even kind of gone a little bit too far forwards there. His shins are nicely vertical. But the problem here is entirely from there, from the heels coming up. And then what happens is that he misses the connection as the heels come down again. Now, the straps, if you look at where they are, the straps are pretty much in the right place. You could investigate dropping your foot stretchers by 1 hole down, just to see if that helps, because by putting your feet slightly lower in the foot stretcher, it'll help the angle as you come into the front of the machine, so maybe your heels won't come up that far. But you can kind of, I'll do this as an on the machine demonstration, as being I'm sitting here. So let's see, I'm sat a little high, oh no, so my right foot is sat a little high. Come here. There we go. So, if you are rowing and your heels are coming right off the foot plates as you come forwards, then what to do is just, even if you're slightly, your shins aren't quite at vertical yet, okay? So I stop here, my shins aren't at vertical, but my heels are still in the foot plates. And then you can row like this just to get used to that sensation of pushing your feet at the same time that your hands connect to the handle. Once you've learned the timing between the foot press and your hands connecting the handle to the machine, then you can go back to the vertical shins with your heels coming up very lightly, hopefully by this time, off the foot plates. But because you've got the timing right now of planting those heels, plant into the foot plates, plant, at the same time plant that your hands connect to the machine. Because you've now got that timing right, you don't have that butt scoot that's happening with so many people where the backside goes, so look, I can go all this way with my backside, leg drive, the handle's doing nothing because I'm not connecting my feet to the handle. So this is the to the power of 11 problem of what's happening with the butt scoot when the heels come all the way up, they miss that leg drive, and all of this leg power, this kind of distance of my seat slide is leg drive that I'm completely missing. So if you can connect right from the front and use the entirety of your legs, I missed it just then actually, then all of your leg drive goes into the machine, and that is when you push and you get that power from your legs, and that's when you feel your backside lift lightly off the seat because you're in this primed position at the front and all the angles at this point are kind of sending you upwards, whereas when you miss the connection, by the time you do get there, you're then in a much more horizontal plane, and so you're kind of firmly on the seat. So what you need to do is work on the timing to push in and feel your backside get lighter on the seat. So what I was doing, kind of even like with the bad version of just coming in and rocking in and out, this is the way to kind of work on your timing, is to come in the front, push, give it a couple of seconds, roll into the front, push, because you want the flywheel to slow down a bit. Good thing to do here actually this is when you can row on 10. So come into the front, push, into the front, push. And the weight that you will feel from the stroke, when you get it right, you should feel your backside go lighter as you push with your legs. And notice I'm not pushing hard, like hard. I'm not pushing so I get all the way to the back. All I'm working on here is coming to the front and making sure that I push with the feet at the same time I connect my hands to the machine, and that you just come in and push. And then you can start to row in anger. You can come into the front and push harder with the legs. Into the front, push through, and then push. Feel your backside go lighter. And then once that gets okay, and you're still thinking about what's happening with your heels here, you can then push and swing. Roll into the front, push and swing. Always focusing on the timing between hands, push, and feet. And then finally, hang on, backside's coming off the seat. You can come in, push, swing, pull, okay? Into the front, get the timing right, push, swing, pull. And just by nibbling away at that, this kind of workout to work on that timing, to get that connection right at the front so that you're not missing that leg drive, by just working on it, spending a little bit of time, after a warm-up to spend a minute just working on that timing, it should eventually come together that you're able to do this, and when rowing properly you can then get that timing right, because that's where so many people lose power from this point. And usually you can see it if you press the second button down on a Concept 2 and change it to the force curve. You can see when you miss this because the curve is wrong, because you're not accelerating in power from the front. You're kind of jolting in power halfway through, and you'll see this kind of spike that happens as you jolt in the power. And remember, you want it to be a nice smooth curve, where, like a nice high smooth curve's better, where you're driving the leg power in, and then as your legs start to fade, that's when you swing your back to top up the power you're losing from the legs. And then as your backswing starts and your legs are really getting to the end, that's when you finally pull in with the arms to get in that last little bit of power. And that's what causes that lovely curve. And so if you see it kind of go up sharply and then it kind of peters off in a very kind of shallow line, that's because you're getting kind of that leg drive and swing at the same time, putting in loads of power, but then you've got nothing to top it up with your back. Then your arms come in, and then your arms are what kind of keeps it from just stopping, but then you come to the back. So if you've got a, that's a sign that you're swinging your back too soon and pressing and kind of pushing your legs, and you're not adding it in, right? So this is going on a bit, but I'm trying to get everything across here. So then the other thing, let's not even go back to the iPad. The other thing to look at then is his kind of robotic. So you saw when he was kind of going drive, like this. This is kind of what he was doing in his practice. I'm kind of maybe over exaggerating it here, but he was definitely like the arms would come forwards. So when you go into a rowing stroke, in fact, oh, hang on. I'm not going to do this at 10. Let's take it back down to 5.5. So, hang on, let me get going. So if you figure that he's rowing like this-ish, okay, so throwing the handle away, and then everything's like a jagged motion, which right now, out of interest, my force curve by doing that was almost like a nose, okay, from completely missing it at the front. So it's a good thing to look at from a force curve point of view. So what you want to do is flow between the leg drive, the back swing, the handle comes away, triggers that forwards rock again, so that you're in position as your hands pass your knees, you're already in this forwards rock, then you just bend your knees to roll into the front again. But the key here is the finish and the arms away, is that you pull in and the arms come away at the same speed that you pull the handle in at. So I'm not throwing it away, I'm not like rigid, tense. Do I have triceps? Whether they're popping, but it's not like in, out. And like, I see so many people who try and get the handle away in a kind of like a scared way. They pull in and then they throw it out again. That's not what you do. You pull in, release it nice and smoothly, and what happens is as your arms come away, it triggers your forwards rock. And so here is the next drill you can do. It's to swing with your back, pull in your arms, out with your arms, tilt forwards again. And just think you're dancing with the machine. Okay, so woof, 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 woof. Just like a nice 4 that you're counting in at this point. You're not holding the handle against your chest at the back. Yes, that's a drill. Yes, that's useful in a boat, but it's not very useful in a concept 2 if you're rowing, you want to go fast, to go and sit here for a while, because all that's happening right now is the flywheel's slowing down. That's it, slow down, and go forwards again. There's no point, but it's good as a drill, just to kind of go, have I finished strong here? All right, okay. But once you're happy with how you're rowing, it's fine. And as being right now, we're trying to teach Ronnie how to dance with the machine, we definitely don't want to pause. So swing, pull, release at the same pace, and then rock forwards again. Nice, fluid dance. Even if you've got music on that you can just do this in rhythm to it. You're basically, right now, even though it's a little bit alien when it comes to your actual stroke, you're just trying to teach yourself to dance on the machine. Be fluid, be rhythmic, let everything feed into each other so that eventually you're in this position, you just bend your knees. Hands away, rock, knees. Okay, and everything now breaks down to 3s. So you drive and you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can only do 2 strokes of that. But it's now very fluid. And it goes, if you'll actually break it right down, you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and everything is fluid, flowing into each other. You got your timing right at the front to power into the stroke. Push with the legs. Let the hands brace against the handle. Get that power in. Swing your back. And yes, if you want to pull in with a powerful finish, please do. But remember, the handle, you're always moving, dancing, fluid, not throwing it away. Okay, this tension at the back is going to cost you certainly the higher stroke rates that you want to get up to if you want to row faster. If you are going at high rates, hang on, right, so this is me, how I would row at 30 strokes a minute, okay? If I try Ronnie's way, I'm still up at 30, but trust me, this is exhausting, and I'm also a lot slower by doing it that way. So that fluid motion gets you into the right position, ready for the next stroke, and to be able to blast out again. And rhythm on all of this gives you consistency, not only of the power you're putting into the machine, but also your stroke and your positions as you move forwards, because you're in this lovely rhythm moving backwards and forwards on the rowing machine. Because you've got that rhythm right, you come into the front and you start to learn this kind of position at the front so that you make sure you don't over compress, get your shins past vertical. So you're always coming into the same point to then push out, connect those heels into the foot plates and get to the back. Right, so what started off as a look at Ronnie ended up being quite a long kind of me on the machine just talking to you, but hopefully this kind of, for the people that have got in touch and asked about what does the connection at the front of the machine mean, the connection means pushing with your feet at the same time your hands connect the handle to whatever machine you're using makes it go, okay? So you push as you, well, also not pull, but as you feel that point when you connect to the machine, that's when you push with your feet. Yes, that's when you connect your hands, and that's what I mean by connecting, okay, at the front of the machine. And then at the back, it's all about finishing, letting things come away. And so the two things to look at for that are, number one, that you don't hold it at the back, because even as I do that, you can see that my hands want to recoil forwards, okay? And so holding it in this tense position at the back just wastes energy, and it also wastes like recovery energy as well, because your hands want to come forwards again. Let that happen, okay? So you come in powerful, let the hands come forwards again, and that kind of recoil, that springiness of your muscles and tendons of what's to come forwards is free energy basically, because it's just coming forwards again. So use that, don't hold it against at the back. But at the same time, remember, it's about rhythm. You come in and then you'll let your hands come away again. Crush a tin can between your shoulder blades at the back, and that gives you the power, but then let your hands come away again. In, out, okay, like this. And then that's where your fluid dancing with the machine comes from, okay? That's where you kind of whoosh, and that lets you recover back into the next stroke, and then whoosh, and lets you recover, all right? So there we go. Very long-winded, and this is why probably the message reply on the indoor rowing community was probably better than my big long rant here, because that's been a good 20 minutes of just me talking about this part of it. So hopefully you gained from this the idea of connection and the stuff at the back, okay? If not, I think I've used all the words I can to say about it. But anyway, like I said, if you want me to look at your rowing technique, then just do get in touch. I'm quite happy to do a private reply, just look at it, private reply. Or if you want me to do a form check Friday or whatever day I make it on, then obviously I like sharing this stuff with other people so they can see their own self in the videos. And of course, I do the 1 hour web chat that you can book online at rowalong.com. But no matter what, enjoy your rowing, and I will see you hopefully on one of my other videos on the RowAlong YouTube channel. Until then, take care, be well, bye bye.